going on, Kody?
Oh, hey, Evan. All right. I guess we're live, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks everybody for joining us. My name's Evan, and I'm with Kody. We are both product specialists for Novation. I'm based out of Chicago, and
Yep.
Cody's up in
I'm
Portland.
up in Portland, Oregon. So,
Yeah, yeah, right
yeah,
on. Yeah, so we got some cool stuff to show you today. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll get around to
definitely.
answering questions at a point in the live stream. But yeah, we're going to show off the new FLkey 49 and 61. So
Super
we
exciting.
released the super excited. We released the FLkey Mini and 37 last year,
Yep.
and a lot of people wanted bigger versions of the FLkey. So you asked, we listened, and
Definitely.
we now have bigger versions of the FLkey. So let's switch over to my overhead here. And
There we
this
go.
is the only only MIDI keyboard controller for FL Studio with keys. So we know that the FL Studio market is a little underserved, so that's where we kind of found a place for FLkey. We wanted to create something from the ground up with tight integration with FL Studio because we know that's something that people want. And so right now, this is the 49 key version. Kody has the 37. He'll show you that when he does his little demo. You may notice that it looks very similar to the 37 key version if you've seen it before. We have 8 pots that can be controlled. You can use them to control various things in FL Studio, like channel rack volume, mixer volume, plugins, all that fun stuff. We also have 16 velocity sensitive pads here that feel really nice if you've used any of Novation's other products like the Launchpad Pro. They're very similar feeling pads to that. But new to the 49 and 61 key are these vertical faders and the buttons underneath the faders. So only the 49 and 61 have this section here. And these faders can control channel rack volume, mixer volume, plugins, as well as a custom mode that you can use to send out MIDI CC values and a bunch of fun stuff like that. In addition, the buttons at the bottom here can mute tracks, they can solo tracks, and they also have a custom button as well, so they can send CC values as well. So just like the 37, we also have this section over here where we have a quantize button, a metronome button, which turns the metronome on and off, of course. And then I find myself using this button quite a bit. It's the undo button. So if you make a mistake, press undo. And yeah, you go back a step, as well as the redo button. So if you do like what you made, you can just redo it. We also have a score log button. So FL Studio is always listening for incoming MIDI. And if you're jamming out and you forget to hit record and you wish you did, you can hit the score log button and it records up to 5 minutes back in time of all the incoming MIDI. So you can save that in case you forget to hit record. What else do we have on here? We have a note repeat mode. So I'm going to show you all this in just a second when I get into the demo, but I'm just giving you a brief overview of all the bells and whistles on this thing. Note repeat, it repeats notes, as the name might suggest. So it makes it really easy to make really fast drum patterns and repeated notes, things like that. We also have the really cool scale mode, which is also on the launch key. So the scale mode allows us to pick a scale, pick a root note, and then a scale such as major, minor, pentatonic, etc. And then it turns all the keys into that scale. So you can't hit a wrong note. It is just locked into that scale. And there's some other scale modes that I'm going to show you when I get into the demo. But yeah, so big difference between FLkey and Launch Key. FLkey is built from the ground up for FL Studio. So you'll see in a second, it has tight integration with FL Studio. It's got a really cool sequencer mode. Whereas the Launch Key, which looks very similar to this, can work with FL Studio as a generic MIDI controller, but it won't have the sequencer mode or a lot of the tight integration with FL Studio that the FLkey does because we made this specifically for FL Studio. So with that being said, let's get into my little demo. All right, so this is FL Studio on the top section here. This is my step sequencer window. I have a couple different tracks loaded in here. And if I hold shift and hit the channel rack pad, this pad here is labeled channel rack, we can see that the pads have lit up and they match the different colors in FL Studio. So on this first channel rack, I have a kick, hi-hat, close hi-hat, claps, bunch of fun stuff. So we can play, live from the pads. Or I like to use the sequencer mode. So let's hold shift, tap the pad labeled sequencer, and that's going to give us hands-on control of the step sequencer in FL Studio. And you may notice that there's this green light right here. That is indicating what track we are controlling right now. So let's scroll up and go to the kick. I'm going to hit the channel rack up button. And then boom, we're on the first track, which is our kick. To enter in a step, all I have to do is press a pad, right? Delete a step, just press the pad again. If I want to go to the next set of 16 steps, I just hit the page right button. And we repeat that process for all the different tracks. So let's scroll down, go to our open hi-hat. Go down again, we'll go to our closed hi-hat, and we'll just add all these in here. Now let's hit play and hear what we just made. Pretty basic, right? There's a really cool editing feature on FLkey that allows you to change pitches, velocities, a bunch of different parameters on the fly. And we do that using these pots up here. So let's change the velocity of some of these closed hats here, because right now it sounds very rigid. There's not a whole lot of groove there. So if I want to change the velocity of some of these steps, I'm going to press and hold the pads. They're going to change color. Then I can add any other pads that I want to edit. And then this second knob here controls our velocity. So we can turn it up, we can turn it down. I'm going to turn these down. And to exit this mode, we just tap the pads that we tapped before. Let's go over to our second page and repeat the process. About that. We can also quick edit steps. So if I just quickly tap a pad, hit the button, we can edit steps quickly. So let's give that a listen. Right, so there's a little more volume variation in the hi-hats, so I like that. So let's move on. Let's go to our clap channel, and we'll just do right now we're just doing a simple 4 on the floor beat, nothing too crazy. You may notice that I have this pattern locked at 32 steps, and you do that with this window right here. It's at 32. You can change that to whatever you want. You could have it 16, 32, 64. Et cetera, but just for this demo, I'm going to lock it at 32 steps. Otherwise you're going to be watching me scroll left and right a whole bunch. So just add in some flourishes here. Let's add a snare. Bada boom. Cool. So for this snare, I'm actually going to change the pitch of these last 3 hits here, and that would be the first knob on the top row here. So I'm going to press that. Twist the knob, and then the snares are kind of going to cascade down like that. Give us a nice little drum fill. So let's hear how that sounds. All right, so we got something cooking here. We're going to scroll down one more track here, and I actually have an FPC loaded up. So FPC is a stock plugin in FL Studio, and kind of looks like a bunch of drum pads, right? So you can load different drum samples in here, edit them in FPC, and you have them all in this one handy window. And we can actually control all of those samples from the pads. If I hold shift and tap the pad labeled instrument, that's going to turn all these pads into our FPC pads. So you can see that the colors are matching what we see in FL Studio. And I apologize if there's a little audio distortion here. I've done a lot of troubleshooting trying to figure out what exactly that is, so just bear with me here. I apologize in advance. So we're going to use the note repeat button to add some note repeats using the FPC plugin. So I'm going to go ahead and turn note repeat on. I just tap the button. And you'll notice that the notes are repeating. And we can actually change the time increment of those repeats. If I hold shift, tap note repeat, these keys on the bottom are labeled. We have quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, 32nd notes, as well as a triplet option. So we can go ahead and record that in. I do have record countdown on, which is this button right here, the 3, 2, 1 button. So that's going to give me a 1 bar countdown before it actually starts recording. So let's go ahead and arm FL Studio, hit play. Another really cool thing about these pads is, you may have noticed, they are pressure sensitive. So depending on how hard or how soft I press on the pads, that determines how loud or how soft that sample is played. So pretty expressive. We're going to scroll down one more to this SliceX plugin I have loaded up. And you may notice that the pads here change colors. And so when the pads are in instrument mode, that gives us control over the different slices in SliceX. You can kind of see here, when I hit the pads, that's telling us what slice we're currently playing. I'm going to go ahead and turn note repeat off. Just tap that, turn note repeat off. So let's record this into our sequence. Once again, going to hit record, hit play. Right, so my timing may have been a little bit off on that, but no worries. We can hit the quantize button and make sure everything is on the grid. So one thing you do want to make sure is this magnet looking button right here. This is what your notes are going to quantize to. So you can have it quantize to each step, quarter step, etc., etc. Right now I have it on line, which I believe is just how far you're zoomed in on the piano roll. That's kind of where the notes are going to quantize to. So let's go ahead and hit the quantize button, and we kind of see that the notes are back on the grid. So let's hear how that sounds. Right on, not too bad, not too bad. They are a little loud though. So let's go ahead and turn that down. A couple ways we can do that. We can use either the pots or the faders. Right now I'm going to use the pots to do that. So I'm going to hold shift, make sure we're on channel volume mode, which is different from the mixer volume mode, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. And let's adjust our volumes. Cool. Right on. So they're not as loud, a little back in the mix, a little more easy to listen to. Cool. So let's move on to the next track that I have loaded up, and that would be Fruity Slicer, which is kind of like a stripped down version of SliceX. Works in a similar way. I can control the different slices that I have. I just have this little acapella sample. I added a delay to it. And yeah, when the pads are in instrument mode, you can control the different slices. Let's go ahead and record that in. Let's go ahead and quantize that. Awesome, awesome. So yeah, we're missing a bass line, very important in house music. So let's scroll down, and I have this bass synthesizer loaded in. And we can control the parameters on this plugin using either the pots or the faders. Let's use the faders in this instance. So I'm going to hold shift. And you'll notice that these buttons down here have some labels on them. I'm going to make sure that this one is in plug-in mode. So that's always fun. Before I do that, I'm going to make sure that I'm in the key that I want to be in. So for this song, I want to be in A minor. So let's go ahead and make sure that we are in A minor. So to activate scale mode, we just simply hit the scale button. And then to pick what root note we want and what scale we want, we hold Shift, Scale. Right now we're in C minor by default. So C, C sharp, D, etc., etc. This screen is updating and telling me exactly what key I'm in. So let's do A. So right now we're in A minor, but we could change that to A major, A Dorian, Mixolydian, Phrygian, harmonic minor, minor pentatonic, major pentatonic. So there's a lot of fun scales there that you can play with. But for this song, I want A minor. Cool. So now all the keys are going to be in A minor. So let's record a bass line. Awesome, got a simple bass line there, and you may have noticed that the frequency cutoff was changing, and that's because when I was messing with the cutoff here earlier, it recorded that automation into the step sequencer. So we can actually use all these different parameters and record that automation into this pattern. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Let's play around with it first before I hit record. All right, so that gives our bass line a little bit of movement, makes it more interesting than just the same, 32 step pattern over and over again. So let's go down and add some keys into this song. I'm still in scale mode. All right, I have this Rhodes piano loaded up on this track here. And we're still in A minor. But I'm actually going to use the scale chord mode on the FLkey to record some chords into this. So if I hold Shift, tap the pad labeled scale chord, we'll notice that the pads changed to different colors. So we're actually going to play predetermined chords in A minor using the pads. So this top row here are triads. So we have 4 triads. And then we have some inverse triads. The second row here is going to be 7th notes. And then inverse 7th notes. Right? And then we can scroll down using the page left and right buttons. And then on this row, we have 9th chords. Scroll down one more time. And then we have 6 9th chords. So lots of different flavors in there. For now, I'm going to stick with this row, which is 7th notes. All right, and still velocity sensitive. So if I hit it soft, versus hard, it gives us a very different sound. So I'm going to hit play. I'm kind of going to jam along here and come up with something that I like, and then I'll hit record and record that into our sequence. Actually shift these chords up an octave. So if I hold Shift, page right, that's going to shift our chords up an octave, right? Cool. Let's go ahead and make sure that that is quantized. There we go. So that's how you use sequencer mode on the FLkey. gives you hands-on control of the sequencer mode in FL Studio. So if you like to work with your hands and you would rather use faders and pads than using your mouse, FLkey is a great solution to that. The keys are very expressive, the pads are very expressive. You'll get a more authentic sort of performance when you use a MIDI controller as opposed to just clicking and writing in notes that way. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I like to get my hands on things and express myself that way. So I do want to show you a couple more things. I want to show you how to use the mixer volume mode with the faders. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's make sure we have our mixer visible here. So there is a difference between channel volume mode and mixer volume mode. Channel volume mode is going to change the levels of your sounds in the channel rack. So that's this section here. And that's going to change the gain of your sounds before it hits the mixer. So you can notice here I have two of these tracks. I have this clap and the slice X, which is like our conga sort of loop that we have. I have both of these going into track 6. And then on track 6, I believe I have I have a reverb and an EQ. So I can control channel 6 on my mixer with the effects differently from how I would control the individual sounds in the channel rack. So you can get pretty in-depth with how you route things in FL Studio. It's pretty robust. So that is something to keep in mind if you're looking at an FLkey and you're like, what's the difference between mixer volume and channel volume? Keep in mind, channel volume is the individual sound before it hits the mixer, and then mixer volume controls the mixer lane. So let's play with our volumes here in the mixer. Hold shift, tap the pad labeled mixer volume, and that will give us control, as you can see here, of all of our different mixer lanes. And this rightmost fader here is always going to control our master. So keep that in mind. If we do want to bank over to the next 8 mixer lanes, we just hold the mixer right button or left, and that will give us access to the next mixer tracks. So let's give our a track a quick mix down here. I'm gonna start from scratch. Right on. So we can do that also with the pannings of our channel rack and mixer, as well as the volumes. But I do want to show you how to mute and solo tracks on FLkey. So this mute and solo mode is only available on the 49 and 61 because the 49 and 61 obviously have these new vertical faders and these buttons underneath here. So if I want to activate mute and solo mode, I just tap the button. So right there, I'm muting our tracks. Now, if I want to solo something, I press and hold that. And the reason why we're still hearing that Rhodes right now is I actually don't have it mapped to the mixer. So let's go ahead and map that to 10. There we go. So yeah, right now I have the kick soloed. If I want to unsolo it, I just press and hold the mute button again, tap it. You can solo something else. So that's actually really handy to have, if you're auditioning sounds and you just want to hear how it sounds by itself. Having access to your mutes and solos right on the keyboard, super handy. So yeah, that's a basic overview of FLkey 49. What else did I not mention? Oh, custom modes. Yeah, so 49 and 61 have 2 custom modes for the pads, custom mode for the pots, and then a custom mode for the faders. So the FLkey actually does have a standard 5-pin MIDI output. So you don't necessarily have to use this with FL Studio. If you just want to use this to control an external synthesizer or something, you can do that. And you can program these faders, knobs, pads to control different CC values, what have you. But another cool thing I could show you real quick is we can use the custom mode on FLkey 49 to control a parameter in a plugin that isn't already mapped by default. So let's go back up to our bass plugin here. Let's make sure we're in plugin mode. Right on. So in plugin mode, we have a couple parameters that are already, mapped to this plugin by default. But for example, this phaser right here is not mapped by default. So let's say we wanted to control the phaser with the faders, and we can't do it in plugin mode because it's not one of the default mappings. Not a problem. So if I hold Shift, Custom, that's going to put our buttons and faders into custom mode. I'm going to right click the parameter that we want to control. I'm going to scroll down to Link to Controller, and then I simply just move the fader that I want to control it, and there we go. So it's that simple. So we got a nice little phaser effect on the bass line. But yeah, you don't have to do it with just this plugin. You can do this with any plugin in FL Studio. Just make sure that you are in custom mode when you want to control custom parameters in your plugins. All right.
That was great, Evan. That was a really great demo there.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I started using FLkey maybe a year or two ago, or FL Studio.
Yeah.
I come from a different background, and having FLkey has actually allowed me to wrap my mind around FL Studio a lot
I can
quicker.
tell, definitely. Yeah.
Because the sequencer mode works kind of similarly to like the Circuit or Launchpad Pro. It's not that different. You have the 16 pads, they're velocity sensitive. You can control different parameters with the knobs up top. I felt very at home with the FLkey, starting out in FL Studio. So now I know Kody's more of a power user.
I was about to say, someone like me that's been using since like 08 or 09, whatever it was. It's really nice. I was about to say, having had the FLkey for the last year, it's been wonderful working with the 37. But I'm so excited for the 49 and the 61 now with the faders as well too. Even though I will be showing you a little bit of 37s, I know there's been some questions in the chat. We'll get into that in just a minute. But yeah, it's really impressive how acclimated you are to FL Studio now using the FLkey, and I think that's one of the wonderful things about it is that it is made to work with the software. We've worked really hand in hand with ImageLine with coming up with this, and we did previously have some maps for Launch Key back in the day that were okay, and they got you through the day kind of thing. But this is really just a dedicated controller, and I'm really impressed with the new features as well too with the faders. We've added a few more things that you can take control of there in the 49 and 61.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I didn't show you that Kody's going to show you is the new pattern mode.
Definitely.
Right now, the demo I gave was just one pattern, 32 steps. But you're not beholden to just 32 steps and one pattern. You can create a bunch of different patterns, different step lengths, and then you can control them on FLkey. And Kody's going to show you that in just a second. But yeah, I just want to say that it's been great learning FL Studio with FLkey. It seems more like an instrument, or more like a hardware sequencer, having access to that right here. And you can get really in depth. I only showed off velocity and pitch in the sequencer. But you can control much more than that. You can control custom parameters in the sequencer, pannings. I mean, you can get really crazy with it.
Definitely. Anything that's in that graph editor, you can get in there and get control with the knobs. And I was going to say something I was noticing with you as well too is I feel like once you've got your samples selected and your sound palette picked out, you spend a lot more time working with the unit itself rather than looking at the software. I feel like you're just kind of working through. I mean, you're checking there to make sure you're on the right patch or that you have the right sound selected. But it's really nice not to be just completely staring at a software with a keyboard and mouse the whole time. So
yeah, 100%, 100%.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, thanks everybody for bearing with me and listening to my wonderful house song.
Sounded great. Yeah, no, it was a great little demo there. Yeah, let me go ahead and switch over to my 37 here. And I've got lovely Vegas mode going. I love the colors. So someone had asked in the chat if you can change the colors of the pads, and you'll notice here if I'm in channel rack mode, I get the different channel racks or the different sounds that are in my FL Studio. And you can color code those to be whatever you want to inside of FL Studio, so you can edit those if you'd like to. Also, somebody had mentioned some things about customizing for different scales. I know that you only have the set scales that are on here, but you do get 2 custom modes, and I think that you can drop some scale keyboards in there, so that might be a little workaround for you there to get some custom scale keyboards going on inside your custom modes. So we've got the new FLkey 49 and 61. What if you already have an FLkey 37 like myself? Is there anything new for you? And there definitely is. So we get the extra custom mode now. We had the one before, but we can add another one on there as well too. So like this, I have my 16 mutes set up on here, so I can do a little bit of muting with my FLkey 37. And then you can set up a second custom mode. This one's just a generic keyboard right now, but it can be whatever you want it to be inside of there. We also have this new patterns mode as well too, so I'll show you what that looks like in FL Studio real quick. Awesome. So we're here in FL Studio. I've got a little song I've been working on set up here, and what the patterns mode inside of your pad modes is going to allow you to do is select your different patterns and cycle through them. You can also audition them if you hit play there. So I got a little bit of a beat going here for us, and we can flip through those different ones. If we wanted to, we could also clone one of these patterns. So if I just hold down Shift and hit preset down, it'll say clone pattern, and it'll just clone whatever pattern I had selected previously. I'm going to undo that, so it'll get rid of that pattern for us, because we don't necessarily want to clone. I'm going to just make it from scratch real quick, make this beat for you, show you how I did it real quick. So I'm going to hit Shift and then the preset up button, which is going to give us a brand new pattern. As Evan was mentioning earlier, he had his steps set to 32. I like to do mine at 64. Everybody has their own preference, but I'm just going to go ahead and set my steps at 64 right there. And then I'm going to turn my metronome on, and that way I can hear the metronome there. Then what we're going to do is just go ahead and hit Shift. I've already got all my sounds inside of the session here in the sequencer. So I'm going to go to my instrument pad mode. That's going to give me control over my individual instruments. I'll open up my little SliceX here. So if you noticed during Evan's demo, he was using the SliceX as well. I think he was doing it with some drums. I've got a little key loop inside of here. We're going to do some hip hop for my hip hop heads. And so you notice each of these pads will correspond to an individual marker in the sample. So you can set those markers wherever you want them to be, and that'll give you those nice little chops like that. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just turn record on, and then we're just going to record this part into the sequencer real quick. Cool, and then that 64 step loop will just loop for me, so I'll turn record off real quick. I'm gonna hit quantize. That's gonna bring up my piano roll for me real quick and double check, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. It looks pretty good for me. Awesome, so that looks good. So I'm just gonna keep on moving here, and we're gonna switch over from my instrument pad mode to our sequencer pad mode. And you can see those notes that we laid down on the sequence earlier, right there. We're gonna go ahead and go down to our kick here, and I'm gonna start laying some kick drums down. Cool, and we can see with our little red square where we're at on our pattern, so we don't want to go outside of our pattern. You can lay down some snares as well too on 2 and 4. I always know 2 and 4 is in the middle right there, so it's super easy to just lay some snares down. Boom, kick snare, we got some keys going, super easy. What is this, a couple minutes we're going? We've got some hi-hats here on our 4th channel that I'm just going to add in yellow. You see our little playhead there, it's kind of chasing us around. We don't need those extra. There we go, yeah, we're perfect right there. Cool. So we got our loop going, we got some kick, some snare, some hi-hat. We're gonna add in a little bit of bass now. We've got this boo bass, which is a classic in FL Studio, especially if you're doing hip-hop. And what I'm gonna do is take advantage of that scale mode that we were using earlier with Evan's demo as well too. So I'll hit Shift and scale. Like his, mine's in C minor right now. I know that this little sample here. If I go to it, it says it's G flat or F sharp minor. So I can go ahead and select that. So I'll go shift scale. I'll select F sharp and then hit scale again. That puts our bass down here in scale. So now I know everything I'll play is going to be on key with that sample from earlier. And then the next thing I'm going to do is just drop the octave down so I get some more bass. We play a little bit. Something like that. And so we'll just do a little record. Off. I'm also going to turn our metronome off because we don't really need it anymore with all the drums in there. It's just kind of annoying. Awesome. So now we have our bass, we have our drums, we have our little melody sample going on there. I think I played that pretty good, but we'll quantize it anyway. Just make sure everything's nice and tight. Lovely. Pulled up the piano roll. Make sure we're all good to go. I have everything I like. Everything looks good there. I think that's great. So we'll channel rack down to our next instrument here. And I'm going to bring up the FPC, just like Evan there. I'm going to make sure I'm not recording, so if I play on this, we're good, okay. And then I'll switch to my instrument pad mode to control FPC. So with the instrument pad mode, you see all the lights light up according to what samples you have in FPC, and you notice I've got a couple empty slots and things. Hello. And I usually just load up an FPC with some things I'll generally just add in randomly, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit record, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add this little crash in here at the downbeat when it comes back around. Yeah, that's nice. It's pretty. Okay, cool. Not too much with FPC, but just enough to add a little flavor. Awesome. We're gonna keep moving, and I have one more element I want to add to this beat real quick, which is back to the Slice X for some more sampling. I love the Slice X for sampling. It's really a great tool for sampling in FL Studio. Make sure my record's not on. Cool. Okay, so I can play a little bit. And I'll audition these a little bit for you so you can see my different pads are my different markers here. Hit record. Yeah, that's grooving. So it's super easy, like I was saying earlier, if you've already got your samples picked out and your sound palette kind of created, to just drop all those in there and just get to work and start building your beat up. So now we've got our hook here created, our chorus. What I can do is go back to that pattern mode I was showing you earlier. And this is the time when I would actually come in here and use shift and clone that pattern out. And then typically I'd come in here and remove MIDI out of my different parts. So for like my intro, I've already done this. Here I can hit play. I just took out the drums and the bass just so you get that, the vocal and the melody. And same thing with some of these other, like the verse here. I've got that already sorted out. So I just clone out my root, my chorus loop, and take those and spread them out, and then just take things away and subtract from your chorus loop to create the other parts of your song. So now whenever I go in here to the arrangement view, you can see I got a little bit of arrangement already preset up on here for me. I've got my painter tool selected, and the lovely thing I love about this is now whatever I select here in patterns mode is going to be what I actually paint here on the arrangement view. So if you wanted to say pattern 1, you could do that. It makes it super quick and easy. We're just going to grab our pattern 5 that we just created and drop that in there. And I'm just going to add it into this arrangement here. Really nice. And then what I'll do is just switch over to our song playback mode, and I'll hit play on the launch key. You can hear the intro there that I created already. And then we'll hear the next loop will be that part we just created. Here we go. So it fits like a glove right into my other parts there. The next part is basically like the same part we just created. I just took some of the drums out of the second half of it, and you'll hear it right here. And then it goes right into the verse. So at this point, I'm basically arranged out. I've got everything arranged out. And the way I like to do these arrangements is each pattern is a different section of my song, or half of a section. And then I can super easily lay these sections out in arrangement. And then I'm ready to go basically to send this off to my rapper, in this case Goodry. I'd send it to Goodry from the Third Eye, and he would go ahead and do his thing over the top of that and send it back to me. So it's super easy to, once you get your pattern, go ahead and arrange that out into different sections using the FLkey as well too.
That's an awesome beat, Kody. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah,
that's great.
A little hip hop vibes for everybody.
Yeah, and I love the custom theme that you have going on in the back. Yeah,
that's what I love about FL Studio, is that you can really customize it to fit you. Like someone was asking earlier about the LEDs, can you customize the LEDs? FL Studio is really one of those softwares that really you can make your own.
Yeah, for sure. I can show you how to do that real quick, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
Boom. Cool. Yeah, so if we want to change like a color of the track, so we're in channel rack mode right here. Very, very easy. I just right click the channel, change color, pick the color that I want. You know, maybe we'll make this green. Cool. Yeah. See, now that that pad is green.
Easy. Yeah, that's great.
I'm back. Yeah, so I guess let's take a look at the chat and see if there's any questions that popped up.
A lot of 37 questions there. We'll definitely try to get those questions that are in Spanish translated and answered for y'all as soon as possible. But yeah, definitely, like I was saying earlier, you can still get a lot of features on the 37 with this new update that you're getting on the 49 and 61.
Yeah, so that new update is going to include the pattern mode, which Kody was showing off. You can, you know, clone patterns, make new patterns, change them directly from FLkey. That's going to be on 37, 49, and 61. It won't be available on the Mini. Right. Also, in the new update is going to be 2 custom modes for the pads. So 37, 49, 61 are going to have 2 custom modes for the pads, as opposed to just the one that was shipped with it. So that is a firmware update. If it's not already out, it's coming out very, very soon. All the 49s and 61s are going to ship with that firmware on it. So if you have a 37, keep an eye out on that. Make sure you have Novation components downloaded. That's where you manage all of your Novation products. That's where you update firmware. You can use the web browser version. It's components.novation.com, or you can download the standalone version in your account if you have a Novation product registered. So make sure you have that downloaded.
Yeah, definitely. The website's super handy. Just used it over the weekend. I was like, it's so easy to just log in real quick, set up some custom modes, and just disconnect, and you're ready to go.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I had one more little trick I wanted to show everyone real quick that I just remembered, that I don't know if we've really covered this much, but I want to kind of just show everybody real quickly. All right, if I'm on the right, there we go, 3, there it is. There we are. Okay, cool. So something else I really love is over here in the packs. If you're playing with the FL37 or whichever one, we have the pad mode, the navigation pad mode right here. And so when you're over here and you're selected inside of the browser over here, you can use these directional pads to audition different sounds. And then depending on what you're selected on the actual sequencer, whenever you're selected over here. So if I want to switch that sound to maybe this or maybe this ride, I can just hit enter and it's going to load that ride into whatever I have selected. So it makes it super quick and easy little way that you can kind of cycle through your different sounds and load them into empty slots in the sequencer.
Cool. Yeah, my hello. My front cam overheated, so
okay,
I guess
no
I'll
worries.
talk to you guys like this. Yeah, so I guess while I'm in this view, a couple things that I didn't mention but are worth mentioning. Pitch wheel, mod wheel, of course, it's a MIDI controller, just worth mentioning. It does have pitch, does have mod, does have octave up and down buttons, play, stop, record, all that stuff. I'd like to, it goes without saying sort of, but it is worth mentioning. Velocity sensitive keys, velocity sensitive pads, they're pressure sensitive as well. And yeah, there's a settings page here too, so you can customize the velocity curves of your pads, your keys. You can turn, Vegas mode on and off, which is, the light show. If that annoys you, you can turn it off. All that is in the settings channel. MIDI channel settings, MIDI channel 1 through 16. That goes out of the output. All that fun stuff. Yeah, so let's see if this camera is cooled down. Nope. All right. Cool. I'm sitting right by a window, so the sun's shining right on it. Yeah, if there's any more questions, happy to answer them. Otherwise, the FL, there we go. FL37 and Mini are available right now. They've been out for a while. 49 and 61 are shipping currently. I believe you can pre-order them now on our website or any of your favorite music dealer. You'll be able to find them there. And they should be shipping within the month. So they will be available very, very soon.
Yeah, definitely. I think we had one last little question there. Any motorized mixer faders for the FL in the future? And that's a wonderful idea. I don't know if we're going to have any of that in the future, but I think that's a really lovely idea to pass along to the dev team.
Yeah. No plans for that right now in FL, but who's to say, whatever. We're always listening to the customers, and that's the reason why the 49 and the 61 exist is because people wanted them, and we made them. So we appreciate all the ideas that y'all put in the comments. We do listen to them, and we do forward them to the product team. No promises that any of them will
right.
Make the cut, but we do take that seriously.
We pass them along. Exactly. And I mean, and then you see updates for other things like I was mentioning, the 37 came out first, but we're getting new features with the 49 dropping. So if we can fit new features in, if they work with what the concept is for the keyboard or whatever we're working on, then we definitely try to do those. Cool.
That's right.
We're
cool.
Thank you everybody for hanging out with us and letting us jam at you for a little while and talk at you. And definitely check out the new 4961 FL keys if you're a FL user. If you're just thinking about getting into FL Studio, this is a lovely product for getting started. A lot of my friends that were curious about it, starting to try it out, they're really enjoying it. I think that's just one of those intuitive keyboard controllers that just is really hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah, agreed. It's really changed how my mind wraps around FL Studio.
I can tell.
Having a keyboard, yeah. So yeah, I'm a big fan. Kody's a big fan, and we hope that all of you are as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody. And I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. So definitely keep an eye out for any future live streams, and definitely check out our website for FLkey.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone.
All right. See you later.